horseback riding when I was about 13 years old. I was never that horse crazy kid that was naming all of my imaginary horses or watching Black Beauty and drawing horses, things like that. It wasn't my idea to start horseback riding. Just one day my mother was like, oh, we're going to go to a stable and you're going to have a riding lesson. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll give it a try. And I fell in love right away before I even got on the horse. I was very interested in the process and learning as much about horses as I could. Not coming from a family that has a lot of money, I had to actually start working pretty quickly to start paying for those riding lessons as I wanted to continue. That was at a Hunt the Jumper barn in Ottawa, and then after that I moved to Prince Philip Games, which is similar to Pony Club, where I was vaulting on and off the horse at a gallop and picking up tennis balls off pylons and things like that. Following that, I moved to Brockville and I took some riding lessons and started working with some young horses at St. Albans Stables, which at the time was run by Eve Mannering, who was a co-owner in Big Ben and a riding coach to Ian Miller at one point, and is very well known in the horse industry for being very knowledgeable and producing some excellent horses and riders over the years. Following that, I sort of worked on my own a little bit. I wanted to ride more, but I couldn't afford a lot of lessons, so I did what now makes me shudder, is I bought an unbroke horse and didn't have really experienced breaking horses, but I broke an unbroke Percheron Hackney cross and moved to a barn that was like a do-it-yourself board. I kind of ended up collecting horses. I ended up at with six at one point, and I started breaking horses to train them to sell them. And I had to really learn sort of on my own how to read a horse's body language and take clues from them about what they were thinking and feeling, mostly to avoid getting hurt. I'm really surprised that I didn't get hurt. I didn't have any guidance from a professional or anything like that. So following that, I got into breeding a little bit while I was there as well, and then the economy sort of tanked, and I ended up selling my horses and going to work for Jill Henselwood, who is a Canadian Olympic team member. She went to Beijing and London 2012. I was a groom there for about a year and a half, I think, and during that time I rode some of the high-end young horses that she had there, as well as some of her competing horses, and I really learned a lot there about how being a horseman or a horsewoman isn't just about being able to tack up a horse and get on and ride it. Mentors for me, or some influences, come from Eve Mannering for sure. She really taught me that that's where I really got introduced to working with young horses and how to respect the horse in the way of like communication and taking the clues from them, as well as John Phillips was another really big influence for me. He's runs the RCMP breeding program for the musical ride, and from him I saw that you need to really take the negative emotions out of riding, and especially training. He's really well known as a really good stallion handler, and there I was introduced to handling stallions. And I saw that like no matter what the horse was doing, like however rambunctious they were or however nasty they were being, he would never get angry. He would just continue to ride and just push through it, but in a nice way, and not get aggressive. And I think that is really, really important in horse training, so I've really taken that into my own program. As I was talking about earlier, Jill Henselwood was another huge influence. I learned a lot more about the technical aspects of riding and training while I was there, and just focusing on the little details of not just riding, but of horse care, and finding that balance between discipline and respect and empathy. that is a freelance trainer, there are a couple of really big barriers about getting into the horse industry as a professional. The biggest one, I find that unless you have the resources to set up your own farm, it's really difficult to get clients and maintain clients and offer it at a price that is still workable for them, as well as profitable enough for you that it's worthwhile doing. A lot of boarding barns won't allow you to bring in horses for you to train for other people because they usually offer that service themselves, and it's being basically competitive with your own boarding barn. For instance, the barn that I'm at right now, they won't allow me to bring in training horses for that very reason. And if you're traveling to other people's farms, it takes a lot of time and resources to do that. Even though if you're only there for an hour, you're spending, it's at least probably, depending on where they are, another hour in travel time, and it's also your fuel resources, wear and tear on your car, and you have to charge enough money that you're still at least making something, and it's worth that 2 hours, 3 hours of your time. So when people contact me, tell them, okay, this is how much I charge, sometimes I get the reaction, you really want that much money? And then I'm still caring for the horse on my own property. Like, that's a lot of money. It's still less than what most barns charge for training board, but it's still a big concern. And to me, you also need to make sure you have a really good insurance policy, because you are on other people's property. Anything and everything can go wrong, and there's that increased risk of liability to yourself if something were to happen with the horse, and they consider it a property damage. That could be a serious concern. Other difficulties for me right now is because I'm in university, my time is really limited, and as a nursing student, my schedule is way over the place. Like, I could have 12-hour night shifts and then have to turn around and go after my night shift to go and train a horse afterwards, and then try to fit in some sleep and go again the next night. And especially in times of exams or papers are due that are really large, it's really difficult to make sure that my schoolwork gets done and still find time and ways to maintain my pace and make sure that they stay happy and that they're available. A lot of the times they want to be there while I'm doing it, just to watch and see the horse's progress and things like that. So those are pretty hefty barriers to try to get across. My sort of thoughts on the horse industry right now are what I'm seeing in this upcoming generation of horsewomen and men is that a lot of the times the younger riders, say like in the teens or lower ages, they're constantly being rushed by their parents to hurry up, get out of the barn. I've been here for 2 hours. I really want to go. And they're not being given the opportunity to learn more than just simply how to tack up a horse and ride a quiet horse in a lesson for an hour. They, if they're really lucky, their horse showing a little bit and they're maybe learning how to wrap a leg, but there's no real theory or horsemanship knowledge being passed on from the current generation of professionals down to the upcoming generation at the more local levels. So what I'm afraid of is a lot of knowledge getting lost in the transition to this younger generation of horsemen. The younger generation, and I'm just generalizing here, is that they don't seem to want to learn either. Like they just want to come and kind of ride their horse, and if you're lucky, you'll get a student that really wants to take the time to put the horse away properly, but a lot of the times they just lick them with a brush, if that, and they just throw them back outside, or they throw them into a stall. So, and then they're kind of like, see you next week. Like there's very few, I call them barn rats, where they, cut. Like when I was younger, I would like bike to the barn every weekend and muck stalls all day, and just for the chance to be around the horses again, and that I'm not seeing as much anymore, unfortunately, and it's really sad.